Hey guys, what's up? It's Havy here, and welcome to the second official episode of the Vandyl podcast. Today, once again, I am joined by my two favorite people on earth, Audrey, our designer.
Hello.
And Xavier, our head of content.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And I also undersold what Audrey actually does. She actually isn't just our designer. She's our creative director and does pretty much anything.
I didn't even catch that. Thanks, Justin.
Anything creative that you see on our page most likely came from the brain of
and
Audrey.
Hands. These hands.
Okay. And these, okay. Well, digitally.
Yeah.
Yes. Guys, it's been a little bit since we have recorded a podcast. We only did one to date, so this will be
good
just
one. Nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one.
Yeah.
This will officially be number 2. If you haven't noticed, our content over the last month and a half, I'd say 6-8 weeks, has taken a little bit of a backseat, a little bit of a pumping the brakes kind of thing. And there was good reason for that. I'm going to let Audrey talk about this, but super high level. She and I are now in our new place in Phoenix, Arizona. We moved from Columbus, Ohio, where Vandyl is still based out of.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're in Arizona, and I'm going to turn it over to Aud and let her kind of talk about, what prompted this decision. And
yeah, I mean, a lot of things, honestly. Really, in short, it was just something that needed to happen for the both of us. We love the West, and we took a trip in October last year, and that wasn't really the prompt to it, but it definitely added to it. And just how much we could see ourselves out here. We did everything we felt like we needed to do in Columbus. Obviously with Vandyl still, that's always gonna stay a big piece of that in Columbus. But expanding that on the other side of the country too is kind of a big deal. But yeah, so I don't know, just life moves,
It was great. And it was, I know that we sprung it on Xavier. I don't think Xavier saw it coming.
Not that quickly. I definitely, knowing the two of you, it makes total sense that this would happen. Just the pace at which it happened was a little jarring, yes.
Oh, trust me, for us too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was jarring in general. I am definitely a person that when I get my mind set on something, I do it. Same. And I know that Audrey's the same exact way. So this move was not shocking, but it happened very quickly. And just real quick on Audrey's point about what this means for Vandyl, I do want to just clarify that we are still, we're 100% still based out of Columbus. Now, we do look at this as a great opportunity for us to broaden our brand's awareness. Let's use that as the terminology for this. And now we can officially say that we represent both the East and West Coast. We're in any market that you can think of now. In that sense, we can reach people in LA and Seattle and Portland really easy, Houston and Austin. And then on Xavier's end, he has the Southeast, your Floridas, Georgias, and then Chicago, New York, Boston, you name it. So I think this really can, over time, as we build this brand, really help us kind of spread our wings across the entire country.
Totally.
Definitely. Yeah. And, having like we said in the first episode, if you haven't listened to that, you should go check it out on YouTube or Spotify. We talked at length about our roots in Columbus and our, foothold in the community in Columbus. And that is not going away. I am still here in Columbus. A lot of the business we're going to be doing that we hopefully will be talking about is going to be done here in Columbus. So that's not going anywhere. That piece of Vandyl is very much a part of the entire thing.
Absolutely. And so as far as our personal journey and all of that, I'm going to stop it right there. Just long story short, if you've been really craving that Vandyl content, we're sorry. But this move is really good for the brand long term.
Yeah.
And just know that we've settled for the most part into where we're at here in Phoenix. So I think with that, I can officially say that we're probably going to be back on the content grind pretty regularly. We definitely have some things planned for the next month, 2 months, and we're cooking some things up for beyond that. But know that we are going to try as hard as we can to consistently get back into the role of pumping content out, because so far what we've put out, everyone seems to have liked.
Good responses for sure.
Yes.
Great responses.
Yeah, we're stoked on the response.
we're so stoked. I'm up to this point, and I'm really stoked because of what we've been able to accomplish with, the three of us and what that, kind of represents. I mean, obviously the brand launch video, it wasn't just the three of us. We had some amazing partners through that.
Took advantage.
And took advantage of that. People that we're really close with and we're friends with out of Columbus. But I do want to talk about a big piece of content that I know dropped between our first podcast and today. And that is the announcement of our first signing, our first Vandyl. And it's none other than Trunks, which I've known Trunks for quite a while. Trunks is a Halo streamer. For those of you who don't know, he plays at a very, very high level, super lovable guy, has been in the Halo scene forever, has some of the dopest montages ever created. If you haven't seen them, you should check them out. And I think we can talk a little bit about what that looked like, because I think a lot of people see us again as like this small new org on the block. But I think if they kind of had the chance to pull back the curtain, right, and see what we went through and see how long we actually talked to Trunks prior to signing him, they would see that we operate on a bit of a bigger scale than just, hey, you want to be a part of Vandyl? Yeah. Cool. Stream for us and throw our logo in there. That's not I'm not going to tell you what the deal with him is, but that's not what the deal looks like. And so far, absolutely loving that relationship with Trunks. And Xavier, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. Like you said, we're not a stream team. We're not like a collective or something like that. We're a real organization, and that's the way we're approaching this. And so when we started thinking about ways to bring other people into the fold, content creators, that is, we started throwing around names, and Trunks' name came up a whole bunch. Justin knows him from the good old days, like he said. And we were just in his stream, and we loved the way he interacted with his chat. He was humble. He was killing it. That's the thing that still blows my mind when I watch his stream, is he is playing at such a high level, and it doesn't even look like he's trying. He's chatting
so
about anime. Yeah, it's ridiculous. He's not even thinking about the game. It's just like in his hands. And so obviously we loved that. And when we started talking to him, it just kind of fit. And so once we started getting that going, we knew we needed a good way to announce that was going to happen. And obviously content is kind of what we do. It's what we want to do. I know we've been on the downslope for a little bit because of life.
Yep.
But when we decide we want to do a piece of content, we do it. And so this was no different. The song, I think, was found early on. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we had this dope song that we found that we thought would be perfect for this, and illustrated, Trunks like, the monster is awake, and we're coming, Vandyl's coming, Trunks is coming. We're about to take off. And we pretty much just gave that to Audrey, and she did these amazing paintings, basically. And then she did the whole thing, basically. I did sound design on it. I think Justin obviously oversaw it from a directorial standpoint. So it was a team effort, but for the majority, it was an artistic vision from Audrey. So... Yeah, is there anything that I missed that you wanted me to hit specifically? I just kind of rehashed a little bit, but.
Yeah, no, I think the big thing to point out here too, along with like any big endeavor that we do, is that the first idea is typically not the one that we end up going with. And we actually had like a different direction for that at the beginning. And it was so much more of a hype video. It was so much more like, it was much more graphic and type driven and, very badass and everything. Not that the second concept wasn't, but I think, there comes a point when doing a big overhaul animation project kind of thing like that for someone like Trunks. And we're like, is this the right direction? And we had to take a step back for a second and just looking at timeline and, all the production things. And then we just completely pivoted as we naturally do. Yeah. Which I I definitely think was the right move anyway. I felt so much better about it. It was more work in the long run, but I still feel like the direction of it was so much more different than the typical things we kind of see for launch videos. And it was more on our brand, I think, in terms of like creativity and just, you know, a little more of a hand touch to it. And the song, I mean, I still think our song game lately with like the launch video and this and the Trunks video is like on par.
Our song game is unmatched. I think we are all three. Xavier's background is in music and sound, so I think he more than us. But I get a visceral feeling from music. So, like, yes, I may think when I'm out driving or in the shower thoughts, or I'm just whatever throughout the day, I might get an idea and I'll jot it down. But I don't visually see an entire piece until I hear the right song for it.
I agree.
And as soon as I do, I can dive in. And much like the launch video, the music really did drive the conceptual element of the piece.
A lot of the scenes and pacing of it and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so from that standpoint, I do want to go back to what Audrey said about it started as one thing and it evolved into this, and it didn't even evolve. It was a full-on 180 pivot. Because what we originally wanted to do was very typography driven. It was very hype piece, like you said. The
much
track
faster pace.
Was a driving beat. It wasn't this,
more of an anthem.
Right. It wasn't this melody of a track. It was very like anthem. And you know, we took a step back. We got decently far into that as well.
I think I was just trying to do some like rough animated frames and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't even know where this is going. Like it was kind of like I could only plan so far, but
well, I remember I told Xavier, I was like, because he had asked, he was like, how's it coming? Because there's some things that like we all do this, where like we'll get into a little passion project within Vandyl for ourselves, and then we'll like spring it on the other people. And that's just kind of a cool way that we work sometimes. Obviously everything we do is very collaborative, but sometimes we just spring it on each other.
Go for it.
And Xavier had seen something originally that was during the podcast, the first podcast. And we were like, well, we pivoted and went more of this painterly style. And we showed you
I was like, come step into my office.
Scene.
Yeah.
The throne scene at the end.
Yeah.
So the throne scene at the end was the first idea we came up with in that realm.
Yeah. I remember I brought Master Chief into Cinema 4D and just like made a really shitty throne, just some blocks, you know.
Wait. Wait. Is that 3D? That's 3D?
Well, I mean, I took like a still from that 3D composition and painted over it. But
I was like, wow, you went way harder than I thought you did.
Some of it is 3D elements that she then manipulated and painted over. So that's the craziest thing about that piece is I think that people look at that and they're like, that's an interesting look. I wonder how they did that. And I can tell you how she did it. It was all hand done, which I think is a bonkers thing. And I saw it firsthand because we lived together. Was like I would come in and she was just like
on my iPad.
Literally. I remember a conversation we had. I said, do you think you can do that style? And you were like, I don't know. And then like a couple days later, I came in and you were like painting over one. And I was like, it might work. You know, this might work. And then like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, it was like, you're still painting over these. And then you had to animate them. Yeah. And most of the animation was hand animation.
And the way that it was animated too was a way that I've never actually done before. It was a lot of like learning as I went, which is very scary because the original plan that we had, you know, I kind of like knew how to go about that. I just didn't know if that was like the right direction. But this second concept was like, yeah, let's do something that I've never done before. I've never done stylistically, and I don't see any other references that are kind of like this. But let's just do it, and we'll see what happens. So it was a lot of trust in me, and it was a lot of like blind faith. But yeah, just kept moving forward, and it ended up being what it is.
And one last thing on the Trunks video that I want to kind of interject here is that this is something else that I think makes us really special. Especially if you are, and this is a little bit of a pitch for anyone out there looking to, who's maybe thinking, one day do I want to be a part of Vandyl as a streamer or creator? I think one thing that makes us really special is how we make executive decisions on content based around people that are a part of what I consider our family. I consider Jeff Trunks, I consider him like a part of the Vandyl family now. Like, one thing that we make very clear to people that we bring on, and that's the reason that we don't have a ton of streamers or creators, is we want to be able to focus on this small group of really fucking talented people. Is we want to be able to provide this expertise, our content creation, our design elements, all that stuff. And something that we consciously decided when we started doing the first round of that video, and we're like, this is cool for Vandyl. Is it right for Trunks?
Exactly.
And we looked at kind of what he was doing in the past and what he's into personally. And he's very into anime. He is not this like super over the top, high energy kind of person. We thought maybe we should slow it down and let this kind of
badass in a more subtle way.
Yeah. Badass in like a mysterious a little more outspoken, a little more to himself. And I think that we really helped, I don't know, kind of visually show his brand through this video, even though it was through the lens of Vandyl. Yeah. And I think that's really special.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on something, like we were talking about the music earlier. If you watch the launch video too, the music vibe is kind of, in that same realm. And it's just stuff that you don't expect from an esports org. Right now, esports is all dubstep, electro, like hit them in the face with your brand and stuff like that, which is great, which I love. I'm a huge fan of a lot of orgs that do that sort of thing. And a lot of people do it really well. But I think that goes back to our original mission with Vandyl, which is to do things a little differently, right? So we're using female vocal tracks that are essentially ballads, if you think about it, which is like, you're what? you're an esports org and you're using slow down tempo music. But I think it's very effective, and people comment on that. They say, this is not at all what I expected from you guys. Yeah. When you said that you were an esports org, you're working with Trunks, you're in Halo. This is not at all where I thought this was going. And that's fun to me. That's so cool to hear. And it's just like, it makes me want to continue to push the envelope. And like you said, you learned a new technique for this thing. And I think that is also part of the mission, right? We're not we're professionals. We do this every day. So like, if we're not stretching ourselves, it's not worth it for us to bring other people into this if we're not gonna, grow as well. So we're a part of that journey as well.
Totally. And I want to touch on something really special about us that you just said is we do come from, and I know I pitch this all the time, but I think it's a really interesting angle, is we weren't people in the world of business who looked at this as an opportunity to go and make money. We are professionals in the creative advertising, marketing, brand design, video production, 3D, anime, whatever you want to call it. This creative world, we're all professionals within that. We have been for a long time now, individually and collectively. We thought, we saw a problem first and foremost with the way content was being handled within the world of esports, period. That's kind of problem solution, right? We can create a solution to that. We're going to make content that is way more thought-provoking. We want to take the time and meticulously craft something special every time.
And more storytelling.
Mm-hmm. We're a story-driven brand. We believe in crafting stories, and we believe in bringing on people who has a special story. I think Trunks has a special story. I think he's a special person. And so he was really intriguing to us to pick up. But on the side of content, even if we do start really ramping into gear on content, it's not going to be twice a week content from us, because we are actively thinking about how we can elevate our game, right? How can we create the coolest, thought-provoking, head-scratching even at times, like the launch video piece of content, but it gets people talking and it feels like something that an esports org didn't produce. Yeah. And no shade to this. I know that we all thought of this collectively, and this is why we kind of got down at the table and we were like, agree, cool, let's change it, was these videos that are being pumped out by orgs almost feel, I think there's some really talented people, creatives within the esports space, and they're not getting their fullest potential tapped properly into because orgs are making executive decisions to make challenge videos. And how many Capri Suns can you beer bong in 20 seconds? Haha, let's do it out next to our pool in a house that has no artwork in it because we don't actually live in this house. It's just our content house. It's a shell of a home. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff we like, kind of turns me off now. I've seen it for a decade now, and it's just getting more copy paste. I think if you didn't have the creators to separate these brands, you could take the colors away, the creators away, and you put it all next to each other, and you wouldn't be able to pick and choose who did what. I really believe that. Yeah. It starts to blur together. And we said, we're not going to do that. We have no desire to do that. Will we do some like fun, community-driven content? For sure. That's a goal in the future. But for right now, that's not what we're about. You're not going to see us doing like challenge videos unless it relates directly to gaming. That's the only time I could see us really diving into it. It was like if we all went against each other and see who could do X, Y, and Z in a specific game first. Those are the kind of challenge, right? Like those are the kind of challenges I could see us doing as like something fun or like a community night.
Yeah, well, I think it's I think we, and I'm not saying we're above anybody else or we're better than anybody. Absolutely not. But I think I think we just don't find that entertaining. Like I don't think that's really entertaining to watch the same video done by a million other people. Like I don't want to watch the same thing over and over and over. I want to see something different from somebody else. So like we're not going to make the same thing as somebody else because that would just go against that.
Yeah, and that's something I've always, I do really respect the Nadeshot approach to the way they handled apparel. Was I don't care if it fits within the box of esports. I wanted to create clothing that I wanted to wear day to day.
Yes.
That's how we feel about our content. We just want to make content we would sit down and watch. And we're actually proud to show, as like the artist brain in us, we don't want to produce shit because that rots your brain as a creative. Is thinking that I made something that's not good. Yeah. And everything we make, we still look at and go, that's not. Oh, yeah,
we're always going to be critics of our.
But that's the best part about it is we're constantly pushing because of that mindset. But we're ultimately just making content we're A, proud of, and B, that we would sit down and watch or show to a friend and be like, you have to check this out.
Yeah. And the cool thing, too, is that we're still learning what that is to us.
Totally.
And that's like an ever going process and everything. But it's definitely part of the fun.
Yeah, and
real quick, Xavier.
Oh yeah,
just
go ahead.
Disclaimer for the general audience that we had in the first episode. Our dog is still with us. He also moved to the desert. He's currently in here panting because now he lives in the desert. It's air conditioned, so I don't really understand that from a perspective. But if you start to hear him, it's because he just hates fun. But go ahead, Xavier. Didn't mean to cut you off. Just
no, that's okay.
To anyone who
that's
hears
okay.
our dog.
I love Rocky, and I'm glad he's there. Glad he's in the desert. But I was just going to say, like, I think with us, too, we're still relatively young in our careers, I would say. Yes, we've been doing it for a while, but we're young people. We're young in our careers, and we still have, we still want to have, I would like to think we all have that spark still, where when we see something that inspires us, it makes us want to go do stuff, like seeing a YouTube video about like a challenge video doesn't make me want to go make a video. It doesn't make me want to go try the challenge. But if when I'm watching VCT on Twitch and they drop a new cinematic or something like that, oh my God, Valorant, their content team they have no business going as hard as they are. There's no reason. There is no reason for them to do what they're doing content-wise, and they are absolutely destroying everyone in gaming right now with their content.
I've never seen a gaming brand do what they're doing.
Never.
In my opinion, I've never seen anyone touch it. I always thought that Halo and Gears and those games back in the day with their live action cinematics, that separated those games. But this is on a new level where they're utilizing, finally, for fuck's sake, animation, motion graphics, design, illustration.
I'm drooling over it anytime.
Audrey, every time we turn on VCT, she's like,
it's incredible.
Beautiful.
It's unbelievable.
It's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. But as much as one day we would love to dip our feet into the world of Valorant, I do want to say that the game we are 100% committed to right now and will be pursuing on multiple levels is Halo and Halo Infinite. If you're watching this, I am absolutely certain you are a fan of Halo because you're probably not following us currently. unless you're a fan of gaming, and you're not a fan of gaming if you don't love Halo. Okay? Now, not trying to, not trying to blackball anyone here, but no, you're not a fan of gaming if you don't like it.
I've never played.
Infinite. I would just like for us to touch base on this. We're going to have a future podcast breaking down Infinite and what we know on it so far and kind of what we plan on doing within Infinite. But just, I want to hear your all's thoughts. So Audrey is someone who really doesn't have like a huge background in Halo as a game. I think a lot of your Halo knowledge came once you met me and you realized how much of a nerd I am within that game.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of grew up around it, right? So my brother, he was always the gamer growing up, my younger brother, and I was never allowed to touch the Xbox, right? And so I did get to I did watch him, and still to this day, I still watch video game playthroughs and nerdy shit like that, but so I'm somewhat familiar with it, and it's cool, especially knowing Justin and just seeing the evolution over time of what Halo's brought to communities. And I wasn't even aware of how big of a community Halo had and just what it's done for kids and for, older people. And,
for me, it literally gave me a career.
Yeah.
I still say that to this day is Halo.
It's amazing. And just like even like the montage stuff, I didn't know that existed until I met you, and just learning about that and just seeing like what a game can give the world. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, I'm just excited to see like what happens, especially with all the controversy behind like, how will it do, that kind of thing. So it's very intriguing for me to see like kind of on the sidelines, but like I'm still involved, but I've never played Halo or anything, but just from an outside creative and like lover of video games and storytelling perspective, I'm very intrigued. So
you got to get on the sticks. Justin, what are you doing?
I know. I want to.
You live together.
I said I would. I know.
Man, I'm not
going
even on
to.
the
I promise.
What is there to play right now? I'm not. As much as I love Halo 3, I'm not trying to play Master Chief Collection. That thing's a dumpster fire.
Dude, you gotta get in the campaign, play through some campaign with.
We could do that.
That's what Justin
with Audrey.
told me.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it. Do that first.
Just do that on stream.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. My first unveiling of Halo and
it's a great idea.
Yeah. No, I mean Halo is a staple of my life. It has been a legitimate major aspect of my life since I was seriously like a serious aspect of my life since I was like 13.
Just a wee lad.
We played it before then. Like I was younger when we played like H1, but those H2 days, getting that competitive like juice into Halo 3 and really getting the competitive juices flowing, and I was old enough to really appreciate competition by that time. I'm not quite the Halo 1 and 2 head because I'm not quite old enough to have really appreciated those games at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But Halo 3, I absolutely grinded. I love that game, and I to this day believe Halo 3 gave me a career in the production video animation world because of the montage scene. Literally the first internship I ever got in video production, my reel was Halo montages. And that's no shit. And they hired me based on that. They thought it was super creative. They thought it was really cool. And through that internship, I learned how to use cinema cameras. I learned lighting techniques and professional editing techniques and color and all of that
kids,
other
it's
shit.
possible.
It is possible. Video games can now give you a future in anything you could possibly want.
Even more so now than back then. Yeah, for sure.
Way more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, back then it was like to be like a pro player back in like 2008 was a lot.
Yeah.
It was so much harder. To have a career in gaming back then was much more difficult. A career in gaming back then meant you were a game developer, right? Now it's, what avenue? Are you a streamer? Are you a creator? Are you a player? Are you a coach? Do you work for a team? Do you work for an org? Do you work for a game studio? Like it's anything and everything, and it's beautiful. I absolutely love where the gaming scene's at right now. It is the most popular medium there is in entertainment, and I think that's just going to continue to rise in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty miraculous how diehard video game fans are, and that crosses over, right? Like me and Justin had this conversation, not a very brief version of it, but like the video game industry has influenced so many different industries, like filmmaking and all the way down to like psychology, like therapy through video games. Like it's not just game developer makes a game, sells to a consumer plays the game anymore. It used to be like that when we were kids. That's what it was. You bought a game, you play it with your friends, and that's it. It's just a game. It's just something fun to do. But now it's like it is on so many different levels and has so much cash flowing through it, and so many, like you said, avenues for opportunity for individuals, for organizations like us, for big nonprofit organizations to really tap into. So it's pretty special to now say that we're a part of it in this way. We've all had our individual interactions with gaming, but doing something like this with Vandyl is like really going for it, and Infinite is going to be our way to really cement our position in the gaming industry and in the esports industry. And I'm very excited to see where we can take it.
Yeah, Infinite is our I guess you could call it our flagship game, right? It is, yes, we would love to enter as many games as possible and really spread our wings and do all these different things in multiple games and win titles in multiple esports and all of that good shit. Right now, it's still the three of us. And right now, we're focusing our efforts and we are laser focused on Halo Infinite. And I think there is a bright future for Halo. And it's the first time I've said that in years, probably 7 years.
There's been some dark times. Yeah, for sure.
Just, I mean, and just to be completely honest, they have to deliver here. Like this game needs on launch to be complete, playable. It can be a little buggy, but it can't be like broken. And the esports side of it, the competitive side of the game, immediately has to be competitive. It has to be as competitive as Valorant or League or COD or any of these other tier 1 games that are at the top. It has to come out and be a AAA title. It fucking has to. Because at this point, you have split the hair of your dedicated fan base down the middle, where a bunch of my old homies don't play anymore because they hate the fucking game. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not necessarily saying you need to cater to your old school Halo heads, and I don't subscribe to that. I think you have to evolve as a game. But I also think that a big reason most people are mad is because a lot of the games over the last 8 years have come broken, unplayable. Master Chief Collection, when it first dropped, was actually unplayable. So it's one of those things where I am cautiously optimistic about the future of Halo, and I want it to succeed so badly because there are so many Halo fans. And I just look back 10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago to what it did for me. And I just want kids today, even younger than that, to experience Halo for what it is, which is an amazing game. And I want to be involved in that. I want those same, kids, 12, 13, 14, being like Vandyl, watching us in competitive play, being like, that's a team I want to root for. I want to play for those guys. I want to be a streamer for those guys. I want to create content for those guys. So I'm very optimistic. I want Halo to succeed. And in case anyone was questioning it, which I don't know how, if you follow us on Twitter, which you should be, it's VANDYL on Twitter. We have the handle. Go follow us over there. We've been picking up our Twitter game lately, and it's been really exciting to see.
Yeah.
But join us. We're closing in on 500 followers on Twitter,
awesome.
Which sounds small, but man, from a grassroots campaign where we're not putting money behind it, this is all organic. That's really exciting. And it's 400 and something people right now who seem to really love our brand and like us and are excited about our future. And I couldn't be more excited. Yeah. I really couldn't.
Absolutely. And while we're at it, let's talk about the legacy of Halo in esports. If we're talking about mainstream esports as it is today, Halo, Gears of War, those are the games that MLG took and created the esports ecosystem as we know it today. And with Infinite, hopefully they can get some of that magic back under Halo and capture that again and hopefully bring in some of the old fans, some of the people like you who grew up in the scene with the game that remember it so fondly. Maybe there's a little bit of that mixed with a little bit of this new something that they have to bring. Who knows what that is, but hopefully it can be the joining of the two sides, because I feel like you're right. A lot of the people who were pros or watched MLG events back in that time period when it was like the heyday of MLG LANs, don't appreciate the way esports is going right now, with the franchised leagues, with the players hopping from team to team, with all the scandals and the cheating and all of that stuff. And like, I can't blame them, you know, I really can't. It's like, it's going the way of mainstream sports, which is not anything that anybody wants for esports. I don't think. If you really love esports, if you love video games, and if you love gaming, you don't want to see esports go down the same route as all the mainstream sports that have a scandal in it every single year. FIFA, NFL, NBA, all of them. It's just so annoying to hear about all that stuff. And unfortunately, there is definitely, like, you can't avoid that, right? It's professional sports, and there's money. There's lots of money being thrown around, and people want that money, and they're going to do what they have to do. But I think esports, with the community that's behind it, the community that's building it, Esports Engine, HCS, all the franchise leagues that are out there, hopefully can figure it out in the next 5 to 10 years and not fall into that trap of, you know, big conglomerate who nobody knows who's pulling the strings anymore, but there's millions and millions of dollars in it every year. I would hate to see that. It may get there, and it may be a different version of that in the future, but I really hope that they can retain some of the integrity and connection with the audience, and the magic of, like, going to a LAN is so special. I don't know, Audrey, I don't know if you've ever been to a LAN before. We need to make that happen.
I have not.
Oh my God.
Our dog's also completely
I know. I'm trying to get him to stop.
Rocky, come here, buddy.
So, Audrey, I don't know if you've ever been to a LAN before, but it is something special. Have you ever been to one?
So please remind me, what does LAN stand for?
Don't laugh
at me.
Well, LAN technically is local area network, right, Justin?
Correct,
yes.
Yeah, it's where you, back in the day, you used to have LAN parties. You would take your system or your computer and hook them up physically with hard wires. Or over
I thought that was the name of an event or something. But yes, I'm familiar.
So the events are so that was the old school way, and I guess they still do it like that. But essentially, you would go in and they would hook everyone's Xboxes up to each other, so you could 8-man, you could run 8s, and that's how essentially LANs take all of the uncertainty. And latency, the uncertainty of playing online, right? Packet loss, lag, latency,
so
delay,
many things.
Of that shit.
Yeah.
It takes all of that out of the equation. So that's why professional players want to play on LAN. And a lot of people will give people shit where they're like, you're only good online.
It's a really big thing nowadays, especially with having to have been online all of last year for pretty much every pro esport. It's like when everybody started having LANs again, it was there was major shifts. I know COD had like really big shifts where some of the bottom teams were like, wow, we're actually pretty good. We just sucked online. Too bad it's too late.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's a very different thing. But for us, for you, the atmosphere of being at an event like that as a spectator is really what I was asking about. I had the privilege of going to a lot of COD events when I worked for MLG, and dude, like winners finals on the big stage with the Jumbotron screens, and everybody's screaming for their favorite team, and it's totally silent in clutch moments. And then when the clutch happens, everyone freaks out at the same time. I've never seen anything like it. Not in traditional sports, not in theater or anywhere else. It's crazy. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I still say the loudest crowd I ever heard was the first Overwatch.
I was gonna say, yeah, I've never been to one personally. I've always wanted to. And then when he went and he showed me pictures and videos and stuff, I was just like, holy shit. Yeah. I've never even seen anything like that from like looking at my screen perspective.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They know how to put it on because they think in a new way, right? Like these big promoters and stuff and events teams think differently than traditional sports. So you're going there for a show, you know, because there is a lot of downtime as well in esports.
Yes.
So you have to feel that.
Right.
So yeah, LAN, I'm ready. I'm very excited for LAN for multiple games. I'm stoked for Halo LAN, but I'm very excited to go to some Valorant events.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Me too.
In case you were wondering, that was our dog, and we're not entirely sure what he's. If someone's in our home right now, which there's no one in our home, but
for those watching, get a good look. Write the description down.
Yep.
Contact some Phoenix police or something. But yeah,
if we disappear tonight,
yeah.
it was our fault for not listening to our dog bark at the corner of the room.
Yeah, the one time where he was actually right about barking.
The one time he was right. The one time he was actually trying to warn us and not just being a pain
doing
in the
his
ass.
Job. Yeah, not paying rent, but
So real quick, because I do want to keep our this episode a little succinct, to the point, for lack of a better, you like that? Is I want to talk about our future a little bit, because our beginning was a little bit rocky, who's also barking outside of our room right now. But it was a little bumpy. I think up to this point, and with 3 people, grassroots org, a small org, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be bumpy until maybe forever. And it's just going to be a little difficult. But every ounce of the road, every inch of that road from idea, wouldn't it be cool to create a gaming organization?
Oh, I love those conversations. The wouldn't it be cool to?
Oh, we did,
we
did it, and that's the biggest thing. But every inch of that road between let's do this, let's do a thing, to the branding of it, to the video, to Trunks, to us moving out here, has actually been pretty rocky. It's not been the smoothest road, for lack of a better term. And for some reason, this last week and a half, I have felt very, very confident in the future of Vandyl. More than ever before. More than when we were branding it, and I was like, we're going to be, this is going to fucking change gaming. Yeah. This is going to change gaming. And we were all sitting in meetings, creative brainstorming, and we were super stoked and hyped, and we were hyping each other up, and like, this is going to change shit. Even more than then, because I'm seeing real evolution happening internally.
Actual numbers
through
behind
us,
it. Yeah.
And then I'm seeing external numbers happen. I'm seeing us actually gain a following, and that following being dedicated to our brand. And so I just want to talk about, for those people, first of all, thank you so much. Obviously, this doesn't work without a dedicated base of people who really, believe in us, because that's ultimately what you're doing, is you're putting your belief, your trust, your support, sometimes your money behind us to do this thing for you and for this community. And, can't thank you guys enough. But also want to give you just a quick snapshot of what the future of Vandyl is kind of looking like. And one of them is going to be answering the biggest question I personally get from people on Twitter and Discord is, are we looking to bring other streamers and creators on besides Trunks? The answer is yes, with an asterisk. Because we want to facilitate relationships. We want to create high quality content for us, for the people that we believe in and sign, and people who are putting their trust in us. Trunks is not some small time streamer. He is a large presence in the Halo space, and we knew the responsibility we had to him when we signed him. That's why we didn't pick a bunch of people up. We would rather dedicate our time, like I said earlier, to a select handful of people that we think can help evolve our brand, and we can help evolve their brand, and we facilitate a partnership over time with these people. But we absolutely want more people. We're just not sure what that looks like yet. It will be another streamer or creator. I can also say with full confidence, internally, we are having serious discussions about fielding a Halo team to compete in the Halo Championship.
Very serious discussions. Yes.
Very, very serious discussions.
Serious.
So, I mean, honestly.
So serious, you guys.
Okay, well, Audrey's being sarcastic, but we're being pretty. It's relatively. We're thinking about it. We're probably not going to do it. But with that, there's an evolution of other things. And I'm going to let Xavier talk about this for a minute. And really Xavier and Audrey, because they're the ones kind of spearheading this. But what you see, and the reason Audrey and I got kind of decked out in our Vandyl gear today with the dad cap and the tee, which is, I forgot how comfy.
I know. I
These
was like, what
shirts
is this fabric?
I do love the shirts.
Yeah.
They are going away.
Speaking of these awesome shirts we love so much, non-existent anymore soon.
They will exist in a different way. So let me explain that. Trial and error is the name of the game when you're a small organization like us. And we are not experts in apparel and fashion. If I show you what I wear on a day-to-day, that will be blatantly obvious to you.
And then mine is his stuff, so.
Yeah, she just wears what I own. So really, my fashion is her fashion, so we have no fashion sense combined.
Nailed it.
So, trial and error. I'm not going to tell you the company or anything like that. We wanted to find the most efficient way, the most foolproof and error-proof way to get quality products from point of sale to your doorstep. And I think we found a pretty good solution for that. More than anything right now, and this is not me being Oliver twisting you right now.
What?
I'm not saying.
What? Did you just call them orphans? What?
No. Us. I'm not Oliver twisting you. We need money to operate. And the biggest thing we found, I just didn't want that to sound, when I start talking about money, like we're like, please, sir, is we have to have money to operate this thing, even for a small crew of us. Now, we're not, this is public knowledge, obviously, because we're not making a ton of money, is we're not paying ourselves. We'd rather put money towards our creators, our streamers, our team, our products, our website, our presence, all of that good shit. That little disclaimer out of the way. One thing we found really quickly when we dropped our initial store is our profit margin was almost non-existent. And that is a huge contributing factor to why we're deciding to move. And I think we have found a very, very good solution for us that requires more effort on our end, but will ultimately provide us with more funds to do the shit we want to do and to grow this business and this brand for the future, especially going into Halo, because we want to fucking compete, dude. So we want to make sure we have the infrastructure ready going into Infinite to make that happen. A big, big thing for us right now is how do we leverage our merch and our apparel to the audience and create something that you guys want to purchase and support from us. So Audrey and Xavier have been working on this really great, spoiling absolutely nothing here, design for a pre-order t-shirt that is looking real nice. Now, we have not finalized any design yet. That's happening soon, but be on the lookout for that. With that, when that drops, we will be closing the shop you see that we are wearing. It will go away.
Essentials collection.
The Essentials collection, as it is known right now, and what we have on, will be no more. So, all I'm saying is, if you do like what you see, if you like the merch, if you saw Trunks do his unboxing and you liked anything out of that, that is part of that collection. Please go to our website between now and the end of the month. End of July into early August, it will not exist. And we didn't buy bulk. We don't have dad hats sitting around that if you're like, hey, I really love that dad hat, can I get it? We won't even be able to get it. Yeah. Okay. So please, if you do like this stuff, consider going to our website, vandalgaming.com. And we're not
GG.
EU or something. .gg. That would have been a good, yeah, okay. But go there, check out the site, check out the store. If anything piques your interest, hop on that, because at the end of the month, it will go away. However, if you're like, I'm in a spot right now, I'd love to support you guys. Not right now, not feeling it. I don't, whatever the case may be. And you want something a little more exclusive, do wait until after that. And we're going to be releasing a really, really dope print that Audrey and Xavier have really been spearheading. And I'll let them kind of talk about that. And Xavier, even if you want to talk about the process and kind of why we decided to make that shift, that would be awesome. I just wanted to get that out of the way, since we are wearing this stuff and you guys are probably rolling your eyes like, Havy's got on the hat and the shirt, and Audrey's wearing the shirt.
Yeah, so do I.
Xavier's got the shirt on.
Hell yeah.
We did it on purpose. Xavier's just a sellout for us.
Absolutely.
And so no, we just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that this stuff, because a lot of people have said, where can I get it? Where can I get it? Our website. It is in the bio of it will be in the bio of this video on YouTube. It would be in the description, but it is www.vandalgaming.com. And you can go to the website, click the merch tab, and it'll take you to our entire shop as it sits right now. Last chance. Last time I will say it. It will be gone at the end of this month. So if you do like what we have available right now, you do need to act on that. If not, you want to wait, totally cool. I'm going to let these guys talk about, I guess, selling you on why you could wait.
Yeah. Xavier, I'll let you start with that.
Cool. Yeah. So he's right. It is going away. However, we have lots of plans to replace these items with cooler versions of themselves, and better quality versions of themselves. And we're going to be able to control our artistry with apparel, if you will. The way we were working before, we were kind of stuck with basically just pasting a logo on something and selling it to you guys, which is not how we want to do things. That was never the plan. We've got dope artists here in Audrey. We have a lot of friends that are also dope artists, and we want to be able to make things that leverage that and that take advantage of those skills. And so prints, we're talking posters, we're talking postcards, we're talking trading cards, maybe some NFT action in the future. There's lots of things that we're going to be able to do now on our store because we're leaving this other situation.
Yes.
The first of that is going to be a limited edition pre-order only t-shirt that will be an original design of Audrey's that will be a reference to the Vandyl launch video. So if you haven't seen the launch video, please go watch that on our YouTube, because the shirt will make a lot more sense to you if you have seen that. And that, in my hopes, is the first of many seasonal rotations of things like this. So this particular run is going to be a shirt. It's going to be some prints, might be a few other items that all has this art and this style applied to it. With that, we're going to have a video promoting the shirt, which is going to be not just a picture of someone in the shirt. We don't do that. The content's going to be content, so you can look for that as well. There will be stills and everything like that up on the website and on our Instagram as well. Vandyl Gaming over there. And the reason we wanted to do this and why we're doing it now is going into Infinite, we want to be able to give you guys a better package, like right now, if you go buy something, it'll come to your door in a brown box and you'll have it. That's great. Moving forward, we want to do custom tagging. We want to do special boxes. We want to do special offer items that you can only get for a very limited amount of time, possibly. So there's going to be some like Easter egg hunt kind of stuff coming down the pipeline. We have a lot of ideas, and hopefully that's going to be getting the ball rolling very soon, because we want our merch to be story driven as well. It's not just going to be logo stuff anymore. We're telling stories even with our merch, so be on the lookout for that. And Audrey, you can talk about the art side of that.
Yeah, all I can really say is I am freaking pumped about this one.
It looks so nice.
I don't know. I think for me, when I get in my headspace when it comes to illustration and like using my hands to make something, and especially for this, I mean, creating this brand, the logo, the style frames, everything for this, but then also taking it as an opportunity to expand what we've done already, which I know it's kind of like, well, how much more expanding can you do? I mean, it's been a year, infinitely, because I don't know, there's just, I know, right? Nice little loop around there. There's just too much to be done. And I tell Justin this all the time, that there's just so much potential that isn't even tapped yet with Vandyl, including, everything from the design side, merch side, and everything beyond. But this, I think, is a great opportunity to see what a different style of Vandyl looks like in terms of like illustration and design, and just kind of keep moving us forward. But also the fact that it ties back into our original launch video, which we spent so much time on. We concepted and thought every little detail through with that, and I think being able to pull from that in this and keeping that alive and having a reason to look back at that video in this I don't want to spoil anything, but a very, very good moment, a very cool moment of the pinnacle moment of the video.
Yeah.
And having that live on in various different ways is very, very cool to me. So I'm excited to see how it turns out.
I will add one more thing that I'm kind of, and we use this word a lot internally, but I think we can say it publicly, but we're kind of treating this phase of our infancy as Vandyl as the prologue. And this series is very much going to lean into that idea that this is just the prologue and there's a much bigger story to be told that is coming very soon.
Oh, you tease, man.
I know. That's a whole other
We're
discussion.
working, man. We're over here cooking.
It's so fun to do this stuff because it's funny, like you say we use the word internally. That's not necessarily true. It lives in other places.
It's
you
out
just
there.
Have to look for it.
Yeah.
And it's, we from the jump we said
it was all in the plan.
It was all part of the plan. So everything we do, and I said this to someone when I was talking about the brand to someone the other day, everything we do is so intentional, in the sense of shit we're doing 2 weeks from now, we thought of a year ago and had planned out.
Yeah.
And it's very intentional with what we do. It is chaos with intention, I guess is how you could describe it.
Yeah.
We don't play things safe, but we do have a reason for why we do. And we have a reason for why we exist. And I think that that's a big separator of us compared to what is other quote unquote smaller orgs is we know why we are here. We know why we're in this space and we know why we decided to create this brand. And it wasn't just, it'd be fun. That wasn't our mindset. It was this is something we know we can all be passionate about. And we think that we can really, really, really shake up the scene.
Make some waves.
We can make some waves.
Yep.
Intentional chaos. I think that is a really good way to think about it. Well, with that, guys, I think that's probably enough of a brain dump about
we
what
can
we've
really
been
do
up
for
to.
one night.
It's a big download.
And I think a big old download, a
Yeah.
couple of teasing. We talked about a ton of stuff. I can say that the next podcast, it's going to be no spoiler because you're about to see us look nearly identical. But the next podcast is going to be kind of more focused in on Halo, our involvement in Halo, what we kind of have planned for Halo. And then we're going to kind of break down what we're thinking about where Halo is as a game, how 343 is doing their thing, HCS, the if and when we're going to get a beta or a flight, and just kind of any and everything Halo. I'm really excited for that one. So please, guys, if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to our YouTube. That's where this lives from a visual standpoint. The podcast is also on Spotify, correct, Xavier?
Yep.
And if you don't follow us on Instagram and Twitter, please do so. Unfortunately, someone has the @Vandyl on Instagram and they do not want to give it to us.
Didn't you call him out last podcast episode too?
I'm going to continue to call this guy out till he gives me the handle. I would be willing to pay for the handle. He does not want anything to do with me. However, we did get the one on Twitter. So
yes.
On Twitter, we are @Vandyl, VANDYL. And on Instagram, we are @Vandyl, spelled the same way, gaming. No spaces, no underscores, nothing like that. And we do plan on doing a lot more on Instagram. That is the social media that up to this point, I think we've probably been hit or miss on. We have a lot of really cool things planned for Instagram. And you may be finding us on some other platforms maybe in the future as well, dabbling on there. But if you haven't done so, guys, please check us out. Check the website out. Again, the merch is only available that you see here through the end of the month. We've got a new really cool line getting ready to drop. Cannot wait to tease that to you guys and show you what we've been working on there. And just know that we are working really hard to evolve this brand, to enter the Halo space and beyond as crazy as possible. We want to make a giant fucking splash, and I know that we can do it. Any last words, guys?
You said it.
Yeah,
said it.
You said it all. It's all good, man.
Cool, guys. Well, till then, I'm Havy. This is Audrey. That's Xavier, and we'll see you next time.
See you
Bye,
later,
guys.
guys.